Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy, your weekly video game news podcast with your hosts, Lex
and Booj.
And we broadcast live Fridays 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all that video game news, all that spicy video game news you need to know. It is December 8th, and this week, we're going to be talking primarily about the thing that happened on December 7th, which was the Dorito Pope's very own Fan-Zine, the Video Game Awards.
It's high-budget Fan-Zine.
Yes. And all of the winners and all of the announcements that happened, of which there were a pretty good number, and one particularly fantastic controversy that happened during the course of the show. Then after that, we will talk in a little bit about Destiny 2 controversy that just happened. After that, we're going to be talking about a Portal sequel, a Mega Man sequel, a reviving of a fantastic PlayStation 2, ambiance? Mise-en-scène. The PlayStation 2 mise-en-scène has returned.
Yeah, the mise-en-place of
yes.
the Sony.
And we're going to then get into, as our last story, some news about Detective Pikachu's casting.
And Deadpool.
Yes, and Deadpool. And we're going to wrap the show up by talking about some games that just came out and some games that are about to come out. And let's get into it with the Game Awards.
The Game Awards
2017.
I have to say that if this is basically how the Game Awards are going to be from now on, I don't have too much of a problem with that. Because this is basically, like, the awards were essentially an afterthought. This was basically just a mid-year E3. Like, it was just a bunch of announcements, and then some people got some weird-looking trophies.
Yes. I actually really like their trophy design that they have for that.
I like the design, but I don't know what it has to do with video games.
No, it doesn't.
Like,
yeah,
you know.
There's like the base of it kind of looks pixelated, but otherwise it's like a winged lady. I don't know what that has to do with video games. But I think that overall the Game Awards, because I watched it every year, and it has gotten progressively better and less cringy every year. And because we talked about this when we were talking about the Game Awards nominees, we were talking about all the product placement stuff. Yeah. And how last year we had the most fantastic product placement of all time, which was Schick Hydrobot.
The Hydrobot.
And they actually had a dude in a Hydrobot costume.
Yeah.
Who would dance around and like hang out with the hosts like between awards and stuff, and it was like horrible. Yeah. Really bad product placement.
No, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, I mean it was the best thing ever to laugh at, but in terms of actually contributing to the show, it really detracted from it.
It felt very 90s.
Yeah, it did. So this year, a bunch of things were sponsored by Schick Hydro and sponsored by their other places, like I think McDonald's was a big sponsor this year, and but you didn't have stupid mascots or any like segments that they did or skits or anything like that. Yeah, they just were commercials. Yes, there were commercials in between certain things. And there were the obvious, like when the award, it would say like this award sponsored by so and so, and I'm like, I'm fine with that. That's all right. Like, I understand you gotta have sponsors. That's the least annoying way to do it. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that was a big video wall. It was expensive shit. Like, you gotta pay the bills somehow. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that stuff. I mean, award shows are really expensive to put on, so you got to do it somehow. I did think that the McDonald's, what was it? It was like you can Postmates your McDonald's to your house.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
I was like, that's the most 2017 shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
You're too lazy to go get McDonald's.
The restaurant that was specifically invented to be to have your food ready in like a minute and for you to be able to drive through to pick it up so you don't even need to walk in. That place is too slow. It takes too long. We need to have it delivered.
Yeah, I would like to. Yes, it's crazy. But yeah, as the Game Awards, I think they're The one thing that I find was interesting is that, like I said, it's basically become a mid-year E3 kind of Gamescom kind of thing. The interesting thing is that this is the only time of the year where it's basically a giant press conference, a big, like, 2-hour press conference, where all of the publishers, all the big people share the same stage. Like, this is the only place that happens, which I think is kind of interesting, you know? Because, like, in every other award show, everyone has their own little space and they do everything, but this is the only one where it's like Nintendo and Sony and, you know, a bunch of third parties all sharing the same stage. I think it's kind of cool. And yeah, besides the awards, I think the amount of announcements that Keighley can get is impressive to me.
Definitely. But let's talk about the awards. So our big thing, our big criticism going in was that it seemed like it was the same handful of games that were nominated for almost everything. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that is you're going to get 1 or 2 games that are probably going to win a lot of awards each because they're in so many categories. And that's what happened. So,
yeah, pretty much.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild won a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Couple of the big ones at least.
Yeah, and like it's a great game and it deserved to win some awards, but it was just in like every other category. So yeah, what was interesting to me though is the other game that won at least 3 awards, and I think maybe more than 3 awards, was Hellblade.
Yep. So, really got the nod.
Yeah, so I was like, good for them. Good.
And Horizon Zero Dawn didn't win anything.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit. I thought it would win something. But you know what? You know what else? Technically, it won 1 award, but it didn't win any of the big ones. Was PUBG.
Yeah.
And I was so happy. I was just so ecstatic that didn't come close to winning.
And Dr. Disrespect got Trending Gamer, so that's all we needed.
And he was in costume, too. He went up on stage in costume, and he clearly had, like, that little prepared speech that was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. No, he's very entertaining. He's also, like, almost, like, 7 feet tall. The dude's huge.
Uh-huh.
And you could actually, you could see him in the crowd every once in a while, like, everyone else was dressed up, and he's just wearing, like, Oakleys and a fucking black wig in the middle of the crowd. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
No, yeah, the PUBG did not win Game of the Year, or what else was it nominated for? I think Best Ongoing Game. It did get Best
Multiplayer.
Best Multiplayer, which they didn't even say during the show.
Yeah.
That was another thing, is that what was definitely telling to me is that we're going to have a 9-minute Death Stranding trailer, but, like, Keighley was fucking just rattling off those, like, inconsequential awards. Like, he's just like, all right, let's get through some of these fucking awards so we can get to more trailers.
Yep.
Like, and he was just like, it was like 13 minutes before the show started that they did Trending Gamer. And he's just like, all right, Trending Gamer goes to Dr. Disrespect. Okay, get off the stage, we got a trailer.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of that, which actually didn't surprise me because that's how a lot of other award shows are. Yeah. Like the Academy Awards is even worse when it comes to that stuff, because they'll be like, hey, there was 20 different awards we gave out this afternoon. Here's just like a list of what they were.
Yeah, go to our website to figure out who won.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, fantastic. I really wish you would. Great. So,
so let's kind of go down the lists here, if you want.
Do you want to go up the list?
Let's go up the list
because the last is the least important.
So these were some of them that kind of just got rattled off. Actually, well, some of them did, some didn't. The Chinese Fan Game Award went to JX3 HD, and I realized why that category is there, because Tencent was a sponsor of the Game Awards. So there you go. So there's that game. Best Debut Indie Game, Cuphead. I think that's the correct choice. Mm-hmm. Those guys worked real hard on that, and it came out fantastic. The Student Game Award went to Level Squared. Once again, this category, no one knows what any of these games are, but I still think it's cool.
Well, also, it was cool that they did it, and with this had, like, stage time at the show. This wasn't just the Dorito Pope being like, oh yeah, the Student Game Award was this. But no, they had, like, legit... He got, like, time to give a little speech and everything, and that was good.
Yeah. The guy... he went up there, the guy looked like he was, like, in his 40s.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, oh, he's like the teacher, or he's like the professor that's leading the group or whatever. And then he's like, I'm graduating next week, and I'm like, wow, you fucking go to college for a long time in Australia. But who knows? But yeah, cool that they do that so that you can so that whoever the people that are making it maybe get a little more publicity and maybe give them a leg up in the industry. Best esports team, Cloud9. Sure, why not?
Sure.
Best esports player, Lee Sang-hyuk, Faker. Once again, sure.
Which also got time during the show.
Yeah. The one that didn't, though, well, did esports game get...
No, I don't think it did.
Yeah. It went to Overwatch, kind of unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Trending Gamer, which was the first award that they gave out to Guy Beam, which I guess is his real name. The Doc, two-time champ. Most anticipated game, which is one that they just rattled off, which I also thought was kind of a weird category. The Last of Us Part 2. So, I mean, no shit.
Mm-hmm.
Best multiplayer, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Murder Island. It's correct that it should win, because it's a fun game, Lex, and you can go fuck yourself.
It's trash. Get it out of here.
A lot. Oh, and as a public service announcement, well, they announced some PUBG stuff, but you can play the new map on the test servers right now, which is pretty fun. Best sports racing game, Forza Motorsport 7, I guess.
Sure.
Then, the fucking tragedy of the night, Lex, let me tell you. Best strategy game going to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle? Do you know what was on the list, Lex?
What was on?
2.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So the game that was an XCOM knockoff was the one that won against XCOM.
Against the fucking XCOM game. That's really good.
That's a huge slap in the face.
It is. And that one didn't even get stage time, and I understand why. No, not a lot of people give a shit about, strategy games. But that sucks. That's stupid. I really didn't like that. Best family game went to Super Mario Odyssey, and this was the only game, I think, that Super Mario Odyssey won. Which was very surprising to me. Very, very surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, too. But it's certainly a category that I think it deserved to win, but it was one of the ones that didn't get stage time, so it didn't seem like Odyssey won anything.
Right. It won our hearts.
Yep.
It also got, they played a huge, the orchestra played like a huge chunk of the original soundtrack.
Oh, I'm going to talk about that orchestra later. Listen.
Okay.
We're going to get into it.
I have problems with it.
Best fighting game, Injustice 2. All of the genre categories happened off stage, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck, because I kind of care about the genre categories. But yeah, Injustice 2, I hear really good things about that game. I'm not a huge fighting game person, but okay. Best.
What's weird about that game is that a lot of people, I hear a lot of people talk about how they like the campaign, the single player campaign.
Yeah, no, I hear that too, which is nice. I'm glad that NetherRealm Studios did a good single player campaign.
Yeah, it's just something you never hear about fighting games.
Best RPG went to Persona 5, which I think it totally deserved to win. I would have liked it if Persona 5 took home more awards than that, but I'll take what I can get for it.
Sure.
Best action adventure game, which I believe
that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. Also happened off stage, and that was Breath of the Wild. Which, fine, sure. Best action game, no adventure on this one. Went to Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which, sure.
Yeah, good game. I played a good chunk of it. I definitely say it's very much an action game.
Okay. It's weird that they don't have a FPS category, because, there's enough of them to make a category for it. But best VR AR game, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it only makes sense because people are always talking about how they want a big AAA VR experience, and there's not many of them. And Resident Evil 7 is one of the only one of them that exists. Because you can play that whole game start to finish in VR. And you can throw up all you want, and you can just keep playing. So I think that's probably the best choice. If I remember correctly, most of the other games were either little experiences or indie games. I think the RE7 is probably the only one that was a big AAA thing.
I remember. I don't remember exactly what the nominees were, but I feel like there were a lot of games that were like RE7 in that they were like AAA games that were ports. So yeah, so it's still kind of a bummer that there wasn't a AAA game that was specifically just for VR that could be in that category, because VR is not actually like that big a deal. Even though people keep thinking it is.
I hope it becomes a bigger deal. I think it's too early for VR, AR stuff.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet, but I think it will be a bigger thing.
Eventually. Best handheld game went to Metroid: Samus Returns, that was the remake of... Right?
Yeah, it's the remake of Metroid 2.
Yeah.
It's the one on Game Boy.
So that's cool.
Pretty much impossible game. But I've heard that the new one's really fucking fantastic, and I love Metroid, so... actually, I brought up the Game Awards website just so I could look at one of the other nominees, and it should go to Samus Returns. Like, there's no other real person to give it to.
And I believe that happened off stage as well. Best mobile game, Monument Valley 2, that also happened off stage, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Super Mario Run, Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, but sure. Best...
Also the first time that they split mobile and handheld.
Finally. But yeah, best independent game. Now, did this have stage time? I think it did.
Yes.
I think, yeah. So this was Cuphead, which, sure, that totally makes sense. There were actually quite a few pretty good games on that list, as I recall, but I figured Cuphead would probably win it because it's kind of the darling indie game at the moment.
It is. And I think it deserves it. It's a fucking fantastic game.
Yeah. Best ongoing game. What was that industry jargon that we were talking about several episodes ago?
MX, there's microtransactions.
No, it wasn't that. It was before that. It was like sustained player something. Money draining tactics. I can't. Yes. Monetary vampirism. So in the monetary vampirism category, that was won by Overwatch. Which...
One of the least vampiric of the game.
Which is true, yeah. So this is, I mean, if you're gonna have a category for games that are like well maintained over time, sure, Overwatch totally deserves to win that. If it was 2010, then World of Warcraft would deserve to win that, but no one cares about World of Warcraft anymore.
I think Grand Theft Auto Online should have won this. It was in the running.
Yeah.
I think it should have won just because it's been going since like 2013, and it's still like an incredibly high seller. But Overwatch is Overwatch, and I can see it as a toss-up between the two.
We had Games for Impact, which was Hellblade, which I was really hoping would win Games for Impact, and it did, and I was super happy about that.
Yeah.
So, cool.
I was hoping for that or Night in the Woods.
Yeah. But for those who don't know, Hellblade is pretty much about like mental illness, and they had a bunch of experts on mental illness consult while they were making the game to try and make the stuff the character was going through as true to those illnesses as possible, because I don't want to say as realistic as possible, because it's not a realistic game.
Set in like a magical Nordic land.
Yeah, and you kill like weird elk demon things, which are horrifying. But yeah, so I knew that a lot of that had got into the game, so I was really hoping it would win Games for Impact, and also because Ninja Theory, like, it was this whole big thing where they did it all on their own. Yeah. Without a publisher, and I wanted them to get recognition for that. So I was super happy with that win. We had Best Performance, sticking with the Hellblade thing. That was Melina Juergens.
Probably Juergens.
Or Juergens. And she had Andy Serkis gave out this award. They They actually had like several celebrities and like and then important people from the game industry giving out awards, and it was pretty good. I liked the people that they had come out. But Andy Serkis gave this out, and this woman like couldn't even handle it.
Yeah, it was very touching. First of all, I think she was wearing a mocap suit.
It looked like she was wearing a mocap suit. It was a very odd outfit choice.
Yeah, it was like a jumpsuit with the little white balls on it and stuff. Yeah, and like she was obviously getting into this award in this category from Andy Serkis, the guy that kind of invented the art of it. Is pretty must be pretty amazing. And I thought it was actually incredible that she mentioned she's like, I'm not like an actress, like I've never been an actress. I'm like I work at the company. I forgot what she said she does.
She was the video editor. Yeah,
I'm a video editor for the company, and they picked me, and it's like that's awesome. I think that's great, and it kind of shows that the video games are still pretty unpretentious, that something like that can happen, I think that's cool. I think that's pretty rad for her.
Yeah, it was awesome. Best audio design also went to Hellblade. Sure, I don't know. Audio design was not the thing that stuck out to me when I watched Hellblade Let's Plays, but
I did hear. I have it downloaded. I've not played it yet. I'm going to probably as soon as I have some time in the holidays. But I've heard that like pretty much at the beginning of the game it says like please play this game with headphones, because I guess like there's a lot of surround sound kind of shit that goes on in that game. So I guess that's maybe a good thing. I don't know.
Cool. For best score/music, it was Nier Automata. I believe Persona 5 was up for this award.
It was.
And I really wanted Persona 5 to win because I like Nier's music a lot, but I like Persona's a lot better.
Yeah, you had Cuphead and Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Destiny 2 for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's a game that didn't take home any awards. Destiny 2 was up for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the only one that it maybe should have had a shot at winning was best ongoing game, but it's like it's just so bland.
Yeah, no, it's the fact that was up for the category we're going to get to next was just like insulting to me.
Yeah. But like you look at Destiny 2 compared to all these other games that were nominated, it's like you have something like Nier Automata, which is just like a fucking nihilistic sci-fi crazy shit
with robot butts.
With robot butts. You have Cuphead, which is like one of the most original looking games like ever made. You have fucking Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, which are basically like Nintendo coming back and actually being Nintendo again. And you have like Persona 5, which is like one of the most stylistically amazing looking things ever. And you just have Destiny sitting like a fucking wet blanket amongst all these.
Yes.
And it's just like, it just goes to show you how fucking bland and boring like you can be when you just want to suck. You want to be a vampire to your players and suck more money out of them.
Yep. So the next category was Best Art Direction, and surprising really no one. Cuphead won that award. I think they totally deserved it. But at the same time, there were a lot of there were a couple of other really great games in that category, but the one that was in that category that we were just talking about that should never have been considered for it was Destiny 2.
Destiny. Yeah.
I was just like, Destiny 2's art direction is horrible. Yeah. Like, you could talk about how technically the game plays really well. Like, it's a satisfying shooter. But that game's art direction is just so bad.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Yeah, it was up there. Breath of the Wild was also on there. Horizon Zero Dawn and Persona 5 were also on there.
Yeah, and, like, I would have loved it if Persona 5 won, but I knew that Cuphead was going to win, so...
Yeah. I thought it was a toss-up for me between Persona 5 and Cuphead.
So Cuphead actually, yeah, they did pretty well overall. They won... How many things did they win? At least 2, because I remember they won something...
they won Best Debut and Best Art Direction.
Oh.
I think those are that they won.
So that's cool. I was happy for them.
Yeah. Studio MDHR.
Yeah.
It's just 2 brothers and some other family members basically made the whole game.
Best Narrative, we had What Remains of Edith Finch, which I expected, and I think that's a good choice. Best Game Direction and Game of the Year went to the same game.
Yep.
And that game was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I could have gone either way with best game direction, I think there were some other things that were just as deserving to win in that category. But like, I'm not unhappy with it winning Game of the Year.
No, I'm not at all. It was really, I mean, I think that it was either Odyssey or Breath of the Wild. I had a pipe dream of PUBG winning. I thought that would have been funny. I thought it would have been really funny if it beat Odyssey and Breath of the Wild.
I don't know if they've posted online, but I'm curious as to, because the Dorito Pope said at the beginning of this that people voted for stuff, and then that factored in as like a certain amount of score towards what, and then the judges had their own votes, and then that was all totaled to figure out what was actually going to win.
So I think for the big ones like Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Narrative, stuff like that, I think they took like something like 50 media outlets, so like IGN, GameSpot, all them, and they all had like one vote that they cast for that, and it was a combination of all those votes. So I think for the big ones there was no fan voting. I think I even said that like a couple weeks ago, and I was wrong. I was like, oh, the people vote on it, but I don't think they did. I think like at least for the award, it was based on what the media outlets voted for.
All right, because I know that for a couple, it definitely worked that way. Well, there were also a couple that were just fan voted, but there was quite a few that definitely had like audience had a say in it. I just don't know how many votes they equaled. But I would be very curious if people voted on the Game of the Year thing to see what the audience vote was, and if it was indeed PUBG.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because there's just so many people playing it. They got votes.
It's good, yeah. I don't know. I think one of the Nintendo games still might have taken it. Yeah, Breath of the Wild though, totally deserves it. It's a new dawn for Zelda, and it certainly needed it because it was getting real fucking stale from years and years, and they finally took it back and made this really special game. And I think the same thing for Mario Odyssey. Here's the thing. I think Mario Odyssey, I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, like this may be like the coolest Mario game ever, but I don't think Mario needed that as much as Zelda needed that, like, yeah. It's like Odyssey's huge because it's the first like open world 3D, or well, open world-ish 3D platformer since like I think Galaxy 2. And so that's big, but the thing is that pretty much every Mario title is at least pretty good. Like, there aren't really any bad Mario titles. I'm sure that people can get real nitpicky and say that there are, but like even the worst Mario game is still a pretty fun game, and this is just topping that and just kind of pushing the fact forward that Nintendo's still around and they're back and they know what they're doing. But I think that it didn't. I don't think it needed to be as good as it was, as much as Breath of the Wild needed to be as good as it was.
Yeah. But yeah, so overall, pretty happy with the winners of these. And now we're going to go into some of the announcements that were made.
The real meat.
The real point of the show. So...
We're going from the top?
Yeah, let's go from the top. So, Death Stranding. We got like 9 minutes of Death Stranding footage. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
It was just as cryptic and bizarre as all of the other previews. It was just longer.
Yeah. There's babies giving thumbs up inside of Norman Reedus' throat.
Yep.
We got some giant hand monsters and some other shit. I just think... I mean, I like Kojima's work, so I'm down, however convoluted and stupid it is. It's just... It's fun that... It's cool that it's Kojima's first non-Metal Gear thing in, like, forever.
Yeah.
And then he's actually getting to stretch his legs. Kojima was featured heavily in this show. He came out with fucking Guillermo del Toro. He came out with Norman Reedus.
Yep.
And because he's Keely's boyfriend, so,
Well, that's...
One thing, you're always going to get Kojima stuff at the Game Awards because they're, like, best bros.
Yeah, him and Guillermo presented an award, and then him and Reedus came out after the Death Stranding footage. Mm-hmm. And... the thing about the Death Stranding footage that I find, like, comical, and it wasn't about the footage itself, but it was about how it was shown and the reaction was that footage happened, and obviously none of it made any sense, and it was just cryptic and bizarre, which is what I was expecting, and that's fine. And then as soon as it ended, there was just a standing ovation, and everyone's like, I'm so hyped for this. And I'm like, you're hyped for something and you don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody in that audience who was, like, super losing their minds with hype, I'm like, none of you can claim that you know what this game is.
Oh, no.
None of you. You're hyped for something you don't understand.
That's how everything works, though. People get excited for a new Apple product, even though they don't know fucking how it's going to work.
No, come on, wait. You know...
People get excited for, like, a Quentin Tarantino movie, no matter how good or bad it is, you know?
Well, that's true. But with a Quentin Tarantino movie, you're like, okay, you're going to have some good cinematography, and people are going to get shot, and there's going to be, like, swearing. And with an Apple product, you're like, well, it's going to be a phone that, I don't know, is really expensive.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a lot of apps, and with other big video games, you have people are really excited about the audience pick Last of Us 2, or maybe that's a bad example because it's a sequel.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of video games that people are really hyped for, and like, yeah, you know what you're gonna do in that game. You know how that game's gonna work.
Another example of some fake hype is that the thing right below this, which is the From Software little T.
That's true.
What the fuck that is, and people freak the fuck out off the top of that.
But yeah,
because they like Kojima games, it's like they know that it's gonna be something interesting at least.
Yes, it'll definitely be interesting no matter what. Norman Reedus and Kojima come on stage, and then Norman Reedus is like, Kojima's like my best friend, and he's just
a genius.
He could not stop gushing about how awesome Kojima is, and I'm like, man, everyone fucking loves Kojima.
I know. He must. It's so funny because, I mean, obviously he speaks English, but you know, he's a native Japanese speaker, obviously, and it's just like he never talks much in these kind of things, and everyone's just like, he's a fucking genius. I'm like, what does he do? Like, what is it like to work with him? Does he like turn into an alien or some shit? Like. What is up with this guy?
I mean, I really hope they do some sort of documentary about the making of Death Stranding, and we get to actually see him work with the actors and stuff, because I feel like that would be fascinating. But
you never really get to see him work.
Yeah, but it also makes it so bizarre that, like, Konami were just like, we hate Kojima and we're gonna keep him in a basement and we're gonna like shaft him at every possible opportunity. And I'm like, he's obviously such a nice guy. Everyone who gets to know him thinks he's great.
Yeah. That's the documentary I want to see, is what actually went down that whole situation.
Yeah,
we'll probably never see that because that's very un-Japanese to shame a company and stuff like that.
So
it looked interesting, but we're probably not going to see this game until like 2020.
Yeah, no, we got the Bloodborne 2 teaser, which was literally like 5 or 10 seconds of something really gross, like a gross like flesh crank. It was disgusting. There's a picture of it. It's so gross.
So they say Bloodborne 2 teaser. I don't think it's a Bloodborne.
Yeah, no, it didn't say it was Bloodborne. It just said it was From Software.
It had the blood crank for a couple seconds, and then it said shadows die twice. Period. And then it just said From Software. And then Keely's like, that's all you're getting! It's like, fuck you, Keely. So there's been a lot of talk about this, that there's a game that From Software made back in the 90s called Shadow Tower. It was like a first-person dungeon crawler kind of thing, with this like really horror-themed. A lot of people think it might be that because obviously the name. There's also a lot of talk about how it may be a Tenchu game, because From Software bought the rights to the Tenchu franchise, which are like ninja games. And it has a lot to do with shadows, like, and I think actually like one of the bosses in one of the games says like shadows die twice. It's something he says at one point.
Oh.
And you can see, not even in the video, but just in this still frame of the video, you can see in the back there's like Japanese kind of writing and shit, which would be very un-Bloodborne, unless Bloodborne goes to Japan. Who knows? So that's been the theories online that maybe they're bringing back a Tenchu game or Shadow Tower or something. Especially because the game director said he like didn't want to make any more Souls-like games anymore. So that's my thought.
I mean, that's fair. I can't begrudge him that. He's kind of made a bunch of them and done it really well each time. So there's really nowhere to go but down.
Right, exactly. And FromSoft is just, I mean, they've been around forever. It's funny because everyone knows them for their Souls game. They've been going on since, like, the fucking early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, they have the whole Armored Core series and all this other shit.
Oh, I didn't realize they did Armored Core. Armored Core is great.
Yeah.
They had the big Breath of the Wild announcement, which was a fantastic bit of set dressing where you have the game director in a Zelda, like, not like actually a costume, but like a cardigan that looks like Zelda's outfit.
I want that. I want that sweater.
Yeah. And he pulls the Master Sword out of the stone, and there's a musical flourish and everything. And then, they had a trailer for the next DLC pack, which is the Champion's Ballad, which seems to just give us more story stuff for the champions that are talked about in the game.
And a horse motorcycle.
Yes, it gives us a bunch of new items. One of the items, which is the item that has sold me on the Champion's Ballad, is not the horse motorcycle, although the horse motorcycle, pretty sweet. But, no, it's that you can now get a costume that makes you look like Phantom Ganon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, my favorite boss from Ocarina of Time. I can look like him in this game. Sold.
Ganon was scary. That was a scary fight. He was riding through the paintings, right?
Yeah. It was great. So...
Yeah, IG Onuma up there, he's guys like in his 60s, dressed like Link swinging a sword around in front of millions of people. It's fantastic.
It's so good.
And then, at the end, they pulled a very un-Nintendo thing where they're like, it's available tonight!
Yep.
That's something that I don't think Nintendo has ever done, but it was super cool and got a huge... I mean, people, freaking out about it, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And that,
could be done. It's just like, it's out right now. Fuck you.
I think that really speaks to what you were talking about earlier with Jeff Keighley's pull and everything, and how this was very successful for him in that way. Because, if you can get a big developer talking about DLC for the game that won Game of the Year, announcing that, or not announcing it, but talking about that DLC, giving a trailer for it at the show, and then being like, we're announcing the release date of this, and it's right now. That's a big get, yeah.
That's some E3 stuff. And I mean, he got a bunch of stuff from Nintendo, and Nintendo doesn't even do, stage stuff anymore. They just have their directs, so pretty big.
Yep. And then the trailer ended with the horse motorcycle, which if you're watching our stream, you can see a picture of it here, and it's so dumb. It's just
dumb.
It's really dumb. Link's motorcycle. Yeah. So we had another big Nintendo announcement. Bayonetta 1 and 2 are getting released on the Switch, but so they did the trailer for that, and then they had Reggie hanging out with Jeff, and they have their normal back and forth conversation, and then it's like Jeff's like, all right, now we're gonna cut to something else, and then Reggie's like, oh, did you think I was done?
Did you think this was a fucking game, Keely?
Yeah, and it's just like for Reggie it was so obviously scripted, but somehow Jeff Keighley sold his reaction to me. So when I was watching, I'm like, this is just weird. It's like Jeff Keighley didn't know, and that makes me uncomfortable.
It's like, well, this Reggie's just like, well, actually, we hacked your video wall because here at Nintendo, no, I think Reggie, I mean, talk about an industry icon, that guy. It's so funny because he's come so far from being a meme guy to just kind of embracing it, where it's just he always sounds scripted and weird, but it's just oh, Reggie, you lovable scamp.
Yes.
It works. It works for me.
So he made the announcement that we are going to be getting Bayonetta 3 exclusively on the Switch from Platinum Games. Yeah.
That's big because, by all accounts, Bayonetta 2 did not sell well, and was kind of like a last-ditch thing. They're like, hey, we're going to do Bayonetta 2 and see how well it sells when you guys say you like it. Didn't do well, so I think most people were not expecting a Bayonetta 3 ever to come out. So, interesting. Platinum Games just adds another fucking game on the pile that they're making. They make so many fucking games at a time, it's crazy.
But yeah, I hope that does well for them, and I think it's cool that they are confident enough to go exclusive on the Switch, because that install base, that big old install base.
Yeah, I think more. Yeah, I think it'll do better than it ever has.
Okay, so we got a Soul Calibur 6. It was announced. And we
Does
see...
your soul still burn, Lex?
Yeah, does your soul still burn? We saw gameplay of it. It looks very polished and good. I don't like know or play the Soul Calibur games, but I hear good things about them, so sure. It's another good get for Keighley for the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember the one where you could play as Yoda. And,
oh yeah, wasn't there one where you could play as Master Chief, or am I thinking of a different game?
Yeah, no, I think it was. Might have been Soul Calibur 5. The last one came out a while ago, but it was because there was the one. It was exclusive for every console. So like on the 360, you could play as Master Chief. For the Wii, you could play as Link, and then the PS4, I think, were Star Wars characters because they couldn't think of any Sony properties to put in there.
Weird. Let's see. Then we had in the Valley of the Gods. We got a reveal trailer for that. Which
so actually, they misprinted this. It's in the Valley of Gods, and there was no "the" in the second one.
Oh, okay.
Just because I actually thought of that, I'm like, in the Valley of the Gods sounds better than in the Valley of Gods. But anyways.
It would have been better if it was just Valley of the Gods or Valley of Gods. I feel like in the just doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we got a trailer. It's from Campo Santo, the people that brought us Firewatch, and it seems similar to Firewatch, except there's a greater emphasis on you working with an NPC character in the game. And
I'm surprised that they already have something ready to show. Like,
yeah, no, that was like a meaty reveal trailer too.
Yeah.
So this was it was these two characters. It's set in the 1920s, and they are exploring Egyptian ruins.
It looks kind of like a Indiana Jones-ish kind of situation. I really like Firewatch. Did you ever play it?
I did not know.
I like it. I like that this is kind of their they're putting their flag down that this is their style. You know, like this is the kind of game that they're going to be making.
So yeah, that was cool. It was a cool reveal trailer. We had Fade to Silence was also a game that was revealed, which I mean, I found it really hard to get excited about this game because it seems so much like a bunch of other games.
Yeah.
It seems kind of like Prey, and it seems kind of like what is that game called where you were on an ice planet killing big aliens?
Oh, Lost Planet?
Yeah, it seemed a little bit like Lost Planet. It seems a little bit like Last of Us.
Yeah.
But it's...
what's The Long Dark?
Yeah. So yeah, it's this guy, he's trying to save his family, I guess, and he's got to kill all these horrible monsters in an Arctic setting, and he has to fight against the elements and these creatures.
And it's been made by THQ Nordic, which is one of the stranger purchases in recent video game history.
Yes. So yeah, I don't know. It could be good, but there's nothing, and it's cool that that they got a reveal trailer for the show, but there was nothing about it that really made me go like, that game, I want to check that out.
Very middle of the road.
We had PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds actually has a release date. The game, the actual game, has a release date.
1.0. Yeah, it's so they announced that it's going to be leaving early access. Launch 1.0 on December 20th, very soon. They showed off the desert map, which is called Miramar. It is, and you can actually play it on the test servers right now, which I did, and it's fun, and I like it. And it's all that's coming to Xbox One in early 2018. And then they had like a little live action little short film.
That was fun, yeah.
It was fun. I was like, are they making a movie? Are they making a PUBG movie? So yeah, that was fun. And it's PUBG gets a lot of shit because it is janky as fuck, and it is. But you have to remember that this is a small development studio that made a lot of money in like 7 months, and they're like just doing their best to cope with that.
Yeah.
Trying to expand as much as they can, and they're doing really great shit with the game. So I think, it hasn't even been a year yet, and I think they have a lot planned for this game.
Cool. So we had a release date for Sea of Thieves, which is going to be March 20th. So it's a ways off. A lot of the release dates that were revealed during the Game Awards were like tonight or next week or in 2 weeks, and then Sea of Thieves is like, hey guys, March 20th.
Yeah, and in the Valley of Gods it just said 2019. So it's like, all right, well, whatever. Sea of Thieves, I I've seen it way too much. It always just keeps on popping up, and I'm like, I don't know, the idea is cool, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I was watching a thing on it. This guy was talking about it, and he was just like, yeah, I mean, this game looks awesome, but if there's a chance that the player base can just be like super obnoxious and like ruin everyone else's good time, then that's what's going to happen, and it's going to make it miserable.
Yeah.
So that's what my fear for Sea of Thieves. But otherwise, I think it's a very cool looking game. We had Dreams, which is a game I forgot about.
A lot of people have.
Yeah, it has a release window, and I'm just like, oh, I thought that already came out and no one cared, but I guess it hasn't come out yet.
This has obviously been troubled development. Meaty Molecules game, the makers of the Sackboy game there.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? What's that game called?
I thought
Sackboy.
Yeah, I know it's
Little Big Planet.
Yeah, that one.
They made Little Big Planet. They made Tearaway recently, and this is their new thing that they've been working on for a long time, and it seems like it's been troubled. But they have a release window now, so it's coming in 2018 sometime. I mean, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
That may get pushed.
We had A Way Out. We had a release date for that, which is March 23rd. So right after you buy Sea of Thieves, you can go and buy A Way Out. And that was cool, and it was a good trailer. But that really wasn't the news about that. The news was that right after they played, or right before they played the trailer, they
barely even got to the trailer.
Yeah, they barely had time to play the trailer, because to intro it, they had Joseph Fares come up with Jeff Keighley to talk to him, to intro the trailer, like so many other people had done at the Game Awards, but not Fares. He wanted to do his own thing.
Oh yeah.
And he basically just got up on stage and was very bombastic and started talking about how like he like the first thing he said was he was like, Jeff, you know, this is so cool. This is so much cooler than the Oscars, man. Like, fuck the Oscars.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves up.
Yeah. And then Jeff is like, oh, okay, yeah. And then afterward, Ferris is like, oh, is it okay to swear? And then Jeff is like, oh, no, I guess it's okay. He's like, it's okay? All right. Okay, cool. And then he turns to the camera and gives the middle finger and says, fuck the Oscars again.
Fuck the Oscars.
Which just makes Jeff Keighley. You see Jeff Keighley in the background going like, "Oh no!" And then when you thought that he was going to stop and actually talk about the game, he didn't. No. Instead, and we have some quotes which are fantastic. He started talking about randomly started talking about the loot box controversy with EA.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he was talking about his game. So Jeff kept being like, "Tell us about your game. Tell us about your game." And he said, "Okay, so this game, this is my idea. Doesn't have anything with the EA shit going on with the loot boxes and stuff."
Pretty much, I think, like, during when he was saying that, he remembered that he works for EA.
Yes. So he says that the audience just erupts in applause, because one of the things that they love doing at the Game Awards is to stick it to, like, asshole publishers, because that's happened with Konami and stuff in the past. So this was, like, kind of that moment this year, and the audience was, like, all about it. And when he was saying, like, fuck the Oscars, like, the audience was all about that, too, and, like, everyone was applauding him. So that's kind of, like, I think why he kept going with this stuff, because he kept getting egged on by everyone besides Jeff Keighley.
He might have been a little drunk too.
He might have been a little drunk. And then he realizes halfway through that he works for EA, and he says EA has been very good to me, and to be honest with you, because it's nice to hate EA. All publishers fuck up sometimes. That's how it is. In this case, they've been treating me very well. I have 100% of the income to my team for the game.
Whatever that means.
EA's paying all his bills, and he appreciates that. And but he's just like, no, there's EA controversy. Like, we're not doing any shit like that in our game. But, you know, they're doing that, but it's okay, because, like, all publishers are going to fuck up from time to time.
It's probably because there's like an EA representative right off screen that just start giving him the death eye. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And then Jeff Keighley kept being like, so yeah, do you want to talk any more about your game? And there was actually a point where he says, oh, no, let's watch the trailer and then cut back to us and I'll talk about it. And Jeff was like, no, we definitely don't have time to do that. Like, you're already running over.
Yeah.
So then he kept trying to say stuff about the game and just getting derailed talking about other things. It was so funny. It was so funny because it was almost like he was fucking with Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Because he kept being like, okay, I'll tell you about the game now. And then his sentence starts talking about the game, and then it just switches to something else, like mid-sentence.
It's like, look how great this is. And he's like, oh, video games are the best, and shit like that. And yeah, at one point he's like, well, this is my moment. This is my moment to shine, or something like that. And it was great. It was wonderful. It's been kind of derisive online. Some people think, some people really like it. Some people don't. I can see both sides. Some people are like, yeah, fuck, he's like speaking the truth. He's a man of the people. Shit like that. And then there's a lot of people being like, this gives video games a bad look. You know, like this to every normie out there that doesn't play video games. This is what they look to and like, oh, fucking video games are debauched. Look at this guy flipping off the camera and shit like that. And it's like, I don't know. I'm probably somewhere in the middle and just find it more entertaining than anything else.
Yeah, it would give video games a bad look if Jeff Keighley was like this guy.
Right.
But if it's just one guy that came on, okay. Like, I'm fine with it.
Jeff Keighley, in a much more eloquent way, said "fuck you" to Konami last year. So.
Yes. So yeah, no. Watching this video, I highly recommend to everyone because it's hilarious. And watch it twice.
Yeah.
Watch it once for all of Fair's lines, and then watch it again, maybe with the sound off, just watching Jeff Keighley's face.
Yeah,
the whole
he's trying to pull out of this situation.
It's
a lot of people made the joke he was trying to find a way out of this situation.
But then they showed the trailer for the game, and man, that trailer was really good.
Yeah, well, that's the funniest thing is that this guy, he actually used to be a film director.
Mm-hmm.
He's made some feature films, and he started a video game company. And the only other game he's put out so far is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is a really fucking awesome game, really sad game, with some really cool mechanics. And A Way Out also looks fucking awesome. So it'd be one thing if this guy just made garbage, but he actually makes really cool games. So, you know,
he's like a legit artist who makes really cool shit.
Right.
So yeah, no, knowing that he's this whole thing just kind of made me like Fairs more. Because I'm like, oh, these games are so cool, and the dude who makes them is like such a cool guy.
He's like the Tommy Wiseau of video games if Tommy Wiseau made good movies.
Yes, he's a lot like that. Or he's like the young Quentin Tarantino of video games.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. It's like, fucking violence is fun, Jan. Get with it.
Yeah. So we also had Witchfire, which was revealed, and it looked fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really like the vanishing of Ethan Carter, so interested.
It's very action oriented, and you're killing like undead things, spirits and skeletons and stuff like that with a gun. So
I like the text that they had. It was like kind of oldie, like colonial England kind of.
Yeah. And a lot of the art direction in that game looked pretty solid. It was really pretty reveal trailer. We had GTFO was also revealed, which is a horrible name.
I did not expect that name during this whole trailer.
So the
trailer's like very serious.
Yeah.
It's like aliens.
Kind of, yeah. It bothered me because it sort of boils down to being a zombie horde game, where you just have to shoot zombies. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but it's a game where it's 4-player co-op. It's made by the dudes who made Payday and Payday 2, so the co-op emphasis totally makes sense there, and it's all about making your way through this weird sort of like labyrinthine like underground complex, and you have to like
sci-fi-ish.
Yeah. And you have to like unlock doors and stuff, and when it seems like in the trailer is when you screw something up, you trigger like the alarm system or whatever, and that makes enough noise that all these zombies show up and you have to fight them all off. So there's a big emphasis on being like, okay, well, we're gonna have to set traps and like turrets and things so that we'll be prepared if we alert these creatures and then they come after us. And yeah, the whole trailer was really serious. It was narrated by this guy, and it was like really, really serious. And then you get to the end, and the name comes up on the screen. It's just GTFO, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, really, that's the name. They need to change this name. I think it's still early enough, and they really should.
It's a bad name, but it's a memorable name.
Yeah. But this could be a cool game. I just wish it wasn't zombies. I wish it was something else.
It looked like aliens, maybe.
I mean, or like mutated humans, maybe. But the way they act is basically just like a zombie horde. Yeah. And there are so many other games that are like that.
There's another one in the show that was like that.
Yep.
I was amazed that actually it's a game.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. We have a new Metro Exodus footage and a little trailer for that. And that looked pretty good.
Those games are always gorgeous.
Yeah. At least, like, the last trailer we got was a bunch of stuff that was, like, obviously not gameplay. Like, at best, it was QuickTime events, and at worst, it was cutscenes that they wanted us to believe were gameplay, whereas this trailer did not do any of that. It was, so I was happy about that. But then we got... World War Z video game is revealed.
It was the first trailer, and I was really confused because I was like, is this Days Gone? Why are they showing more Days Gone?
Yeah.
And no, it's World War Z game.
Because that movie just came out and it was so good. Oh, wait, that happened a long time ago.
They're about 3 years too late on this one.
Yeah.
It's surprising, I guess. I have a feeling that this was in development for like a tie-in around when the movie came out. And like hit some development snags and probably got picked up by some other publisher eventually. But yeah, like World War Z, like that name, I just don't feel has much cachet right now. Especially it's just because it looks like exactly like Days Gone.
Yep.
And it's just more zombies, and I personally don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't care at all. Just totally like that trailer did not even faze me. We had Vacation Simulator, which was announced. Sure, it could be fun. I don't know. I thought Job Simulator was fun for 5 minutes. So whatever. We had Accounting Plus. That game looks nuts.
It was awesome.
Is Justin Roiland his game that he's making along with some other dude?
So it's Crows, which is William Pugh's studio. He was one of the two guys that made the Stanley Parable.
Oh, okay, yep.
And Justin Roiland doing voices, and I know that it's become for some reason popular to shit on Rick and Morty now, but I find his voice just fucking funny. It's so funny whenever he talks.
No, his voice is great.
In this trailer, he's just like, "Get the fuck out! Why are you in my secret house?" I found it very funny.
Yeah. So that was cool. Fortnite Battle Royale getting a 50 versus 50 mode. Sure. Now they're gonna have a Battlefront mode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, what about the actual game? Huh?
Who knows? This is the game. Warframe. Warframe was like prevalent throughout this entire show because their whole thing was they were like, hey, we had our fans make trailers for the game, and they made a bunch and they all look really cool, and then throughout the show during every like commercial break they played another one of the fan trailers, and they were all pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, cool, this is neat. I still really don't like that Warframe's like tagline is ninjas play free. Because
strange.
Yeah, because Warframe seems really serious and has this super cool art direction and stuff, and then that tagline makes it sound silly. And it totally doesn't work for me. But it was cool.
Warframe's interesting that it's had like this resurgence, and like there's a lot of people playing it now, even though like I had never heard of it for a long time.
But yeah, that was the whole Game Awards. The show's over. It's been an hour. We don't have time to get to anything else at all.
That was a lot.
It was a lot.
I want to say also that there was they did a industry icon award, which is basically like they kind of celebrate someone.
Yeah.
This year it went to Carol Shaw, who was one of the first female video game developers, and she made River Raid for Atari and worked on a bunch of other stuff. And I thought it was great. A lot of people were like, oh, cringe, look at this woman. And I'm like, she's like in her 60s, dude. Like, fucking...
Yeah, she's a video game designer in her 60s. Obviously, does not has never done public speaking before.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, she didn't have a great speech delivery, but why would you expect her to?
Right, exactly. And it's like, just give her just a fucking moment. She's been working on games for like 40 years.
Yeah, she deserves your respect.
She does. She totally does.
But that was really nice. I love that they do that segment. I think it's really great.
Yeah. I think it's super cool. Last year, Hideo Kojima won, which I actually forgot about. And I think the year before that,
the people who made King's Quest, right?
Yeah, Roberta Williams and Ken Williams.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And they also did like a little industry icon thing for Andrew House.
Yeah, and then he came out and talked a little bit because he's, done being at Sony.
He's done being the president of Sony.
Yeah.
Or he was the president of
PlayStation.
Right. And he's eloquent as always, so he came in and was like, hello, I'm Andrew House, and, did this little bit, said some very nice words, and, yeah.
And then
it's crazy. That was a nice little video package they put for him, too, like, where it's, like, way back in the 90s with the launch of the original PlayStation, they showed him and shit, and I was like, I forgot, like, how long he's actually been with Sony.
Man, that 90s promo commercial footage was so 90s. Oh, it was great. But yeah, no, it was a great little video package. And then after it ended, he presented I think it was the Games for Impact Award
it was.
to Hellblade. And it was really funny because when they came up to accept the award, like they stood next to him and I'm like, oh, he's really short.
Oh, yes. He's a tiny man. He's a very tiny man. Still one of my favorite things of all time was when they announced that they were taking Kojima Productions under their wing, essentially. And there were tweets from Hideo Kojima that he said, me and Andy House are traveling the world searching for new technology. Which basically meant they were looking to see what engine they wanted to use for Death Stranding, but, that's the translation, and I thought that was fantastic. I just pictured them, like being, like, on a glacier, like, exploring ancient ruins and shit.
And again, everyone, like, because they showed some of that video where he's on the couch with Kojima. In the video package, and I'm like, man, everyone who hangs out with Kojima, they just love him. Like, they have such a good time with Kojima. Even small men from Wales.
Even small men from Wales who can speak perfect Japanese.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, that was really nice. There's a couple really nice moments. So overall, I really liked the Game Awards this year. The only thing I was unhappy with was the thing that I was unhappy with going in, which was the same group of games was up for too many things. But despite that, tons of really great reveals. The winners of the awards were pretty deserving, I thought. Had lots of fun moments like that. The product placement was not overbearing at all. They had great people coming on to present the awards. They showed some movie stuff. That was a little annoying in terms of product placement. We see
why is The Rock up here with
yeah, we see the tie-in for the Jumanji movie that's coming out like next week or something, and they were introduced a thing, and it was funny because they started talking about video games, and Kevin Hart doesn't know anything about video games, and then The Rock is like, I was in a video game in 2006 and it got a 3 out of 10, and then Jack Black is like, I'm best friends with Tim Schafer and I've been in tons of video games and I know everything about video games.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. The movie stuff was a little strange, although like with the Guillermo, they showed some of The Shape of Water, which is the new Guillermo del Toro movie, and it was so tangentially related. They're like, well, he's friends with Kojima, who makes games. Let's show a trailer for his movie. It's like, what? It was kind of strange.
Yeah,
but overall, I was fine with it. I mean, I've always questioned the need to have a video game awards ever since it's been around. But if this is what it is, if this is what's going to be, I'm fine with that, because, like, the awards are fine, and, I think it's good for the developers and the people involved with them together. I like the industry icon stuff. Like, I think that shit's really cool and kind of more impactful than the regular awards.
Yeah.
But if it's basically just going to be like a mid-year E3 kind of reveal press conference thing, I'm cool with that. Although, the fucking orchestra, whoever was mixing that orchestra was really sleeping on the job. It was mixed fucking horribly.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. That was bad.
You got like 2 overhead mics and a direct-in guitar. Like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
People.
That was bad. But the actual stuff they were playing, I thought was pretty well like written and put together for like medley stuff.
Yeah, I like the Game of the Year medley that they did.
Yeah, that was really fun. I thought it was funny because they did all the games, but when they did Persona 5's music, you could tell they were like having way more fun with it. And I was like, yeah, because Persona 5's music is fucking awesome.
Right. Yeah. It's very jazzy and upbeat.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was they. I think overall, I really liked that they had an orchestra, and I think the orchestra did cool stuff. But they needed their tech to be a little better on that.
Yeah. I'm sure it sounded great live. Just on the stream, the recorded stream was not great.
One of the things I noticed is that when they did their wide camera shots of the whole crowd, is that there were a reasonable number of empty seats in that crowd, which bummed me out a little bit. But at the same time, I understand that most of the people are watching at home via streaming, and that's really where their audience is. But it also made me go like, man, that means I could probably get a ticket to this.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, damn, I really want to just go to this. I really want to go to this live.
Where's it held in?
Los Angeles. The first year was Vegas, yeah. And I think they had an even bigger space that they did it in, and it like didn't even come close to having like capacity. And it cost a lot.
I remember some of the older ones, like they do the pan of the audience and like, wow, this place is not full.
Yeah. But yeah, now it's in Los Angeles. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the show. We don't have time for anything else. We promised other stories, but we're gonna have to just get to them next week, I guess.
I'll tell you this: the next Portal game's a bridge building simulator. Capcom announced Mega Man 11, and it's like classic Mega Man. And Ryan Reynolds is a Detective Pikachu.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds is Detective Pikachu. There's a really interesting story about Destiny 2 and how they're shafting their players and why they didn't deserve to win any awards, so I'm glad they didn't, because they're being jerks to their players, but we'll talk about that next week.
You know what? Actually, one of the funniest things I thought was during the Game Awards when they had like that announcement from Battlefront 2. It was like, oh, continue the story and shit like this, and then there was no clapping like this.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Shush, EA. No one wants to hear you talk right now. Like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because I forgot about that. Nobody came up and said anything. It was just like a commercial that they played.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's December 8th. So what do we have come out? We had Hello Neighbor come out.
I've actually heard really cool things about that.
Yeah, no, that game looks really cool. This past week we had Spellforce 3 come out for Windows. I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Earth Defense Force 5. I do know what that is, and it's fantastic. WWE 2K18.
Woo!
And what's coming out?
Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus.
Out today. It's a big deal.
Today. We have Arcana Hearts 3 Love Max 6 stars. Whatever.
For the PC too, not for the PlayStation, for the PC.
No. It's the third one now. Fearful Symmetry and the Cursed Prince.
Look at all these great visual novels that are coming out.
Okami HD. Some people like that Okami. I never played it.
I mean, it's cool that it's going to be on a variety of things like Windows, PS4, Xbone.
Oh, it is coming to Windows. I might play it then.
Yeah. And then we're getting a bunch of Nintendo Switch games, but not Nintendo Switch games that people care as much about.
Yeah.
The End is Nigh. I've heard things about that, but like Party Planet and Pinball FX3. Pinball FX3, probably not a big deal.
I like pinball simulators.
I mean, yeah, they're fun to play on my desktop in 1998.
Yeah, when I got home from middle school.
Yeah.
They make some good ones now. Pinball Arcade is actually really great.
Cool. And what else? We have Yooka-Laylee is coming out on the 14th for the Nintendo Switch.
Boy, the phrase "too little, too late" has never been more apt.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's that's pretty much it. All those big title games are done for the year. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're pretty much closing shop till the beginning of next year.
Mm-hmm.
as far as the industry's concerned. It's actually kind of cool that you get the Game Awards right at the end of the year, because it's basically like the last big thing for the year. It's like all that's really going to happen in terms of games.
And yeah, so that's it. Thanks for listening. This has been Don't Copy.
Let's talk about the Dorito Popes fanzine.
Yeah, the Dorito Popes high budget fanzine. This has been Don't Copy That Floppy, weekly video game news podcast, broadcasting live on twitch.tv/DCTF podcast, Fridays, 7-8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check out our show archives on iTunes or on chipbit.net. Also, if you want to follow us on other social media, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter by searching Don't Copy That Floppy, or our Twitter handle, which is DCTF podcast. What other things? Oh, if you want to support the show, you can go onto iTunes and leave us a rating and review. That is super helpful. And if you want to support the show and just have so much money you don't know what to do with it, you can go over to our Patreon page and you can pledge money every month, and you can get access to bonus content in which Dan and I talk about non-video game related things. And we gotta get Chris to be on that as well.
Am I cool enough yet, Lex? Can I?
Well, you used to be on. You've been on bonus content before.
It was part of the show.
Yeah, it's more that like Dan needs to be on it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, those are ways you can support us, and thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Until next time, Chris, what do people need to remember?
To fuck the Oscars. Don't copy that floppy.